Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the LTL podcast. This is August 24th, 2023, episode 66, and today we're going to talk about the Bryan Kohberger case. We've all had a day to digest. I'm sure everybody's feeling a little bit of emotion going on out there. How's everybody feeling today? I thought, and I said this over the last couple of days, that I felt that what happened yesterday was going to be the day that Kohberger waived his speedy trial. I had a very good feeling that that was going to happen. And I wasn't really too surprised when Ann Taylor stood up yesterday, said that she was going to file the petition to put the speedy trial to waive Kohberger's speedy trial. Judge spoke to Mr. Kohberger in court, and essentially he waived his rights. So what we're going to do here is get caught up a little bit. And what I want to do first is just read a little bit of a recap as to what happened yesterday. And then I'll get up into the chat and recognize everybody. So just give me a moment here. Let me just get something situated because I already know. Okay, so the murder trial for Bryan Kohberger, who's accused of fatally stabbing 4 University of Idaho students, has been postponed after he waived his right to a speedy trial. Defendant attorney Ann Taylor informed the court that she might not be ready for the trial to begin in October as scheduled. The victims, Ethan Chapin, Madison Mogan, Kayla Gonzalez, and Xander Knodel, were found stabbed to death in a rental home near the university campus in Moscow, Idaho. Kohberger's trial waiver means that the trial is no longer required to start within 6 months of his arraignment. Kohberger's defense attorney, Ann Taylor, plans to file a motion to strike the death penalty and to ban cameras in the courtroom. The trial, originally set to begin on October 2nd, will be rescheduled after Kohberger's next hearing in September. Latell County prosecutor Bill Thompson intends to pursue the death penalty if Mr. Kohberger is convicted. Kohberger had previously been charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of burglary. DNA evidence and cell phone data linked him to the crime scene. Kohberger's family had previously cooperated with law enforcement to seek the truth and promote his presumption of innocence. Kohberger's decision to waive his right to speedy trial was made to allow his defense to give him more time to prepare for the case. The delay has been anticipated by the Gonzalez family, who believe this extra time will enable both sides to fully prepare for the trial. Kohberger, who was teaching assistant at Washington State University at the time of the murders, had a DNA sample that matched evidence found on the knife sheath at the crime scene. His phone location data also placed him near the home multiple times before and after the murder occurred. So I have some questions that I want to pose everybody here. Just give me a second. I'm going to grab them. And maybe, you all out there want to, answer some of these questions. So what reasons might have led to Bryan Kohberger's defense attorney to delay to request a delay in the trial. How do you think the delay in the trial could impact the case outcome and the community perception? Why do you think Kohberger's defense is seeking to strike the death penalty from the case? Given the DNA evidence, the surveillance footage, do you think the prosecution's case against Kohberger seems strong? Why or why not? How do you think the families of the victims and the community at large might react to the trial delay and the potential pursuit of the death penalty? I think it'd be really great once this video posts the questions that I read. And if you're watching this back on replay, we always like you to go down there in the comment section and hit hashtag replay. But I just read out 5 questions. And if you're answering one of those questions in the comment section, I'd love for you to put hashtag replay and the question number that you're answering, and just to see your answers to those questions. I think it would be a really great interactive exercise. And maybe later on down the road or in my next stream, my next Kohberger stream, we can pull some of those answers up to the questions that I proposed and see what the audience thinks. I want to talk about Gabrielle Vargas really quick. And I had some notes on that as well, too. But before I do that, I just want to recognize everybody in the chat. And then what I do want to do is I have a little, some videos from Banfield, a couple of other videos I do want to play. But what I want to do is actually go back and listen to the audio. I did an earlier posting today at about noontime, Eastern Standard Time, where I took the audio and I enhanced it and I cleaned it up so we actually hear what was going on during that hearing yesterday, because I know it was very difficult to listen to. There was a lot of hissing. There was the court reporter and typing. And I just feel that we can now actually hear what was going on. The other great thing is, too, is I can turn on the captions down below. We can get a gist of what it's saying. I know that they're not perfectly great all the time, but we can get an idea of what was going on. So I want to talk about Gabriella Vargas, because I seen yesterday that that was a big thing that was going on. And let me just read through quick my notes here, and then I'm going to recognize everybody in the chat. I appreciate everybody being here on this Thursday afternoon. So regarding Gabriella Vargas, she, if anybody didn't know, she was one of the genealogy witnesses for the defense, and she engaged in communication. So what came up was she actually engaged in communications with individuals concerning her testimony after she testified. Bill Thompson, I believe, asked to investigate, which led the involvement to 2 FBI agents going to ask her questions. They were very transparent about that in court when it came up. Ann Taylor presented her particular perspective, and Bill Thompson presented a different viewpoint. And when I was watching that, or just trying to listen to it yesterday, it didn't seem like it was too concerning, I guess, to Judge. And I think that he said, I'm glad that this has been brought on the record. It's been clarified. It's on the record in court now. And he said, most likely down the road, there'll be a scheduled hearing about it. So I know that there has been a lot of speculation about witness intimidation, that they went to intimidate this girl, and everybody knows how the FBI works and this and that. I just don't see that. And it has, and this is what I think too. Now that, the speedy trial has been waived, and now we're probably going to sit stagnant for another year or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 before this goes to trial. You're going to see a lot of things now that are going to pop up, talking about conspiracy. This FBI thing is going to be one of them. I already saw videos today about it, but I don't have enough information on it. So I'm not going to go on the record and see how, put my opinion out there if I haven't heard or seen anything yet. Everybody just says, oh, the FBI went to talk to her. This is witness intimidation. That's already automatically what they're jumping to. Well, why don't we do this? Let's wait for the hearing. Let's pause a little bit and hear what both sides have to say in this case, and listen to what Judge will rule on it. Thompson had no problem standing up yesterday and talking about that during the hearing. And Ann Taylor had no issue standing up yesterday and giving her rebuttal or her account of the incident as well. So we'll just have to see. We'll have to see what happens in the next hearing. Let me go up here and start recognizing some of the peeps in the chat. Just trying to do a better job at this. So Dorsa says, yes, it's going to be a bigger mystery and extreme speculation against Big BK. Victorine is here. Brenda is here. Karen is here. She said, hey, all the way from England. Well, thank you for joining the live chat today. Diana is here. Kathy's here. Jeff's here in the house. Good to see you, Jeff. Texas Ranger is over here. Teresa Smith is here. Opinion is here. Dr. Bob in the house. Bill is here. Says, hey, Brian, LTL, great channel. Thank you so much. Thanks for hanging out today. Teresa, I already got Teresa. Mind Your Business is here. Mind Your Business is here. Let's do this. We have a new moderator. Mind Your Business has now become a moderator. Welcome to the moderator group. All right. Let's see. Vix is here. Lee and Susan Trainer is here. Let's see. LJD3 is here. Says any Ann Taylor fan says she's a constitutionalist, but she's really against the First Amendment. And I think that's why you're speaking out, because she's trying to ban cameras in the courtroom. And I have a big issue with that. I like transparency. I want to see what happens in this case. I want to see everything that is presented. I want to see how the prosecution and the defense act in this case. I want to see how Bryan Kohberger acts in this case. I want eyes on Judge. I want things to be clear and concisive, and that things make sense for the jury that will be in that juror's box to make the determination if Bryan Kohberger is guilty or innocent. I'm sure you all want that as well, too. Web Weaver's here. Says, hello, Brian Mod in chat. Lisa is here. Brenda is here. PKC is here. Jessica in the house. Miss PJ is here. She says, good afternoon. Well, good afternoon to you as well. Loaded Hut is here. Now they should lift the gag order. Don't think that's going to happen. And Jeff H says, I like how the judge's name makes YouTubers sound like they are stuttering. Yeah, Judge. Mimi's here. She's checking in. Glowbug is here. Angela P is here. Deb is here. Mind Your Business says, thank you. You're welcome. Thank you. Richie is here. Sharon is here as well. A lot of channel members here today. That's really great. Good to see everybody. All right, so let's go on here. Let's pull up the waiver document here. Amanda's checking in as well. Good to see you here, Amanda. Okay, so let's go into the waiver document in the District Court of the 2nd Judicial District of the state of Idaho in and for the county of Latah. Case number CR 29-22-2805. Waiver of speedy trial. Felony. Defendant acknowledges that the defendant has right to have this case brought to trial within 6 months of the defendant's arraignment in district court on the indictment, or within 6 months of the filing of the information. Further, the defendant acknowledges consulting with defendant's attorney regarding the right to speedy trial pursuant to the 6th Amendment of the United States Constitution, Article 1, Section 13 of the Idaho Constitution and Idaho Code Section 19-3501. Based upon careful consideration and consultation with the attorney, the defendant waives defendant's right to speedy trial. The defendant fully understands the advantages and disadvantages of waiving the right to speedy trial and believes that it would be in the defendant's best interest to give up that right. The defendant further understands that once the right to speedy trial is waived, the court may set this case for trial more than 6 months from the time in which defendant is arraigned in district court on an indictment or from the filing of information. And you can see the signature of Bryan C. Kohberger and Taylor's defendant attorney as well. This was filed yesterday at 8/23/23. And you can see that there, waiver of speedy trial felony. And that is the signature there of Bryan C. Kohberger. All right, let's go up to Banfield really quick and see what she had to say on this.
So one more story about Bryan Kohberger's past just emerged, and this one is from a former administrator at his high school, where he got kicked out of a law enforcement vocational program. It's a prep course for the police academy because apparently too many complaints from female students. This seems to be a pattern for Bryan Kohberger. We've heard it a lot of times before. Tanya Carmela Beers told the Idaho Massacre podcast that he was very enthusiastic about a career in law enforcement. He was a leader in the training program, but she knew he was never going to get into the academy.
So LJD3 says, on the FBI visit, why don't they ask what could be the reasons the FBI showed up? Well, she basically admitted to being part of a crime involving tampering with evidence that involved others. Yeah, I think that would rattle some cages. And again, I wasn't completely clear as I was trying to chase this down before I came on air today, and that's why I haven't really spoke much about it. But I think that would rattle some cages. And I think what happens is that people get these theories and then they just run with it and they don't look at the context behind it. And I'm sure, I mean, and this is what I laugh about, is that the next hearing that will address this, the document will be there, or it will be on the record of what they are addressing. So people just hear right away, oh, 2 FBI agents went to her house or apartment, whatever, and that's intimidation. Well, you don't know the full context of that yet. And we have to wait to hear what happened. It's on the record. It'll be on the record. That's why it was brought up in court yesterday. And we will hear that with the enhanced audio that I did this afternoon. There's no bail on a capital murder, especially 4. There's no bail. All right, let's keep playing this.
Because he got booted because of the complaints. All of this coming on the same day as a status hearing, which should be boring, was anything but boring, because today we learned, don't get all excited about October 2nd. Bryan Kohberger today decided to invoke his right to waive a speedy trial, which means that trial date is off the books. Here's how it went down in court. Take a look.
Okay, so Mr. Kohberger, do you want me to accept your waiver?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and you understand that if I accept your waiver, you're giving up your constitution?
Yeah, let me just pull this up really quick. Yeah, it's Mike says, FBI, I think because she posted on Facebook that the FBI does things illegally. Yeah, I mean, if you're posting things like that and you're looking in and you're going to testify in a very, very important case, I'm sure they're going to have some questions, especially knowing that the FBI is involved in the investigation of this case. So, and I also heard that she was talking about her testimony after the fact, and you're not allowed to do that publicly because you've testified in court. And this is a very important case. So if there's a witness that is talking about her specific testimony or things that might have been said to her, maybe off the record, you can't do that. Karen with a £2 super chat says, I can't believe he wants a motion to strike the death penalty. I'm going to recognize this too. Lynn Kay has become a new member. She's a rookie detective now. Let's give her the new tone. Thank you so much for becoming a member. If anybody would like to support the channel in any way, you can do that through Super Chat or go down there, join one of the monthly memberships. You just click that join button down below. My monthly memberships literally start at $1.99. It's less than a cup of coffee, and that helps support the channel. And it gives you benefits on top of that. If you go to my homepage and scroll all the way down to the bottom, there's tons of members only content. I do members only lives. I do sneak previews to videos. We just have basic conversations in there. So if you want to join the membership team, please go ahead and do that. I'm going to pause for 2 seconds because it's extremely hot in my room. So I just want to turn my air conditioner on. I just have to shut my windows really quick. Just give me about less than 2 minutes. I'm going to take care of that. I promise I'll be right back. All right, sorry about that. Whew, it was getting very warm. I live up on the second floor, and the sun tends to beat on this side of the house all day. And when I think that it's going to be comfortable in here, and then I get all these monitors and lights on, and it's summertime, it's really, really hot in this room. So I was trying to do the stream today without having to turn the air on, but it's too dang hot in here. So I do apologize that. Thank you for a moment, just giving me some pause there to take care of that. I do appreciate it. So going back to Banfield here, let's play out this video.
Constitutional right under the United States Constitution and the Idaho Constitution on a constitutional right of speedy trial. I understand. We can talk about resetting this. We're prepared to do that today.
Terrible audio. We got that cleaned up today. We're going to play through that.
So we don't know when the trial is going to start now, but we'll keep an eye on it. We'll let you know as soon as we get that. In the meantime, we spoke to two of the family members of the victims of this alleged murderer. Xana Kernodle's mom, Karen Northington, told us she was disappointed. She was looking forward to that trial actually starting on October 2nd. And Steve Gonzalez, Kaylee Gonzalez's dad, sent us this statement. During the course of this hearing, the court encountered a barrage of frivolous motions. Subsequent to the court's establishment of stringent deadlines, the family entertained the notion that the defendant might voluntarily relinquish their right to a speedy trial. Given the substantial significance of this case to all the families in the community, the extension of time permits adequate preparation for the forthcoming trial date by all parties involved. That's Steve Gonzalez. Also, Kohberger has asked for the death penalty to get taken off the table, and also no cameras in court. They don't want cameras in court. So stay tuned to those motions.
Do you think that maybe this motion to squash the death penalty will, over some time, do you think maybe they try to work in a plea agreement somewhere? Jeff, thank you. Jeff with a $4.99 super chat. He says a little something for the air conditioner fund. Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate you. Dude, I was like literally sweating. My back is literally rolling sweat in here. It's so hot in here.
Cash, homie.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate you. I gotta have you jump on sometime, Jeff. I'd love to hear your perspective on this, because I know that you did some really great videos. And actually, now that you're here in the chat, I have the opportunity to do this. Obviously, you know, DJ's been on my channel, and when you did that enhanced video of the 3-point turn, I hope you don't mind. I actually brought it up on the show. I gave you credit though. We just played through probably about what it was like a 2-minute video, and I thought you did really great video on that. So I hope you don't mind. I just wanted to present that to my audience because it was a really great video, but I did give you credit. I actually emailed you and asked you before that if I could use it. And I don't know if you got my email or not, but I'll have to have you on the panel sometime. Just hear what your perspective is on all this. Okay, so let's do this here. We have another attorney that spoke on News Nation, and then we're going to play the enhanced audio that I put out there today.
Joining me now is criminal defense attorney and legal analyst Bernarda Villalona. Bernarda, you and I have talked about this case before in the past. Are you at all surprised at Kohberger waiving his right to a speedy trial? Was that inevitable given the amount of evidence in this case?
It's so hot, right?
Absolutely. I am not surprised that he waived his right to a speedy trial. I was not expecting that the trial for 4 homicides was going to be tried in October, just months after an arrest. You have to think that in this case, you're talking about trying 2 cases. One, you're talking about the guilt, whether he's guilty or not guilty, but also his defense attorney has to prepare for the death penalty stage. And that sometimes is even longer than the actual trial itself. And you're talking about resources, motion practice, determining whether you need to hire experts, consulting with those experts, looking at the evidence, evaluating the evidence, and remember that there's a huge digital trail here. So there's a lot to review. And as you notice, there's usually only one defense attorney that appears on behalf of Bryan Kohberger. And in a case like this, they need a team to be able to get the case ready, not for just a trial in October, but even a team to get it ready within the next 6 months to a year.
Bernarda, the defense also wants the death penalty taken off the table entirely. Is that solely up to prosecutors?
So first off, it is the prosecutor's office, the ones that applied for the death penalty to be applied in this case. So yes, it is up to them. Now, in terms of getting the death penalty off the table, what the defense is doing is filing a motion with the court and hoping that the judge will actually determine that the death penalty shouldn't be applied in this case because of certain violations. However, it's highly unlikely. The district attorney's office in this case has met every deadline, from the grand jury presentation to the filing of the notice to being and answering ready for trial at each and every court date. So it's not going to be granted. Bryan Kohberger will be facing the death penalty, whether the trial is in October, December, or next year. He is going to be meeting that fate.
Bernarda, one more question on this, on Kohberger, before I move on to another topic. Since we know that they have not found a murder weapon, do you think Kohberger will take the stand?
So that is $1 million question in a case like this. And that's something that you roll the dice
Holy
on.
smokes,
It's a
108.
very technical analysis when you talk about having someone take the stand, because Bryan Kohberger, if he takes the stand, he's not going to be confined just to the questions asked by his defense attorney that he's prepared for. It's going to be an open book, open season for the prosecutor to be cross-examining. And he's going to have to answer a lot of questions like, why was he in the area the day after the murders at the scene?
Thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching. All right, let's do this now. I cleaned up the audio today, or actually this morning I cleaned it up. I tried to run it through as many filters as I could, but I think I actually made some pretty good sense of it here. And we'll play through the audio so we can hear what was actually going on, just to get everything clear as to what was going on. I'll turn on the captions. So let's go through this here.
All right. Now, you ready? Okay, let's get on to the record, please. Thank you. We are now on the record. This is State of Idaho.
I'm going to pause this really quick. There's been some new documents that just literally dropped. I just looked on the website. Let's pull those up here. So we have another motion to dismiss the indictment. I'm not going to, I might be able to read the whole thing here. Let's see this. Hot off the press. New documents. New documents. All right, let's see here. This one here is the motion to dismiss the indictment. Comes now, Bryan C. Kohberger, through his attorneys, of record and files a motion to dismiss the indictment on grounds of biased grand jury, inadmissible evidence, lack of sufficient evidence, and prosecutorial misconduct by withholding exculpatory evidence. Oh boy. This motion is based on the state's various violations during the grand jury pursuant to Idaho Code 19-1001, Idaho Criminal Rules 6.7 and 48, Idaho Rules Evidence of 401, 402. I'm not going to read all those codes. It says Mr. Kohberger raises 24 issues which are set forth in full of the memorandum in support of the motion to dismiss indictment and its attachment. And you can see there, and see Taylor, public defender, hereby certify the true copy of this. So a motion to dismiss indictment on the grounds of biased grand jury, inadmissible evidence, lack of sufficient evidence, and prosecutorial misconduct in withholding exculpatory evidence. Good Lord. Good Lord. All right. Let's look up this next one here. A motion to file. A motion to file to support, to dismiss indictment. Let's go over this one here. Again, I'm not a legal expert. I'm not a legal scholar, but we can read through the documents and see what's generally going on in this case. All right, motion to file memorandum in support of the motion to dismiss indictment under seal. Comes now, Bryan C. Kohberger by an attorney, Ann C. Taylor, public defender, and hereby moves to court for an order to file a memorandum in support of the motion to dismiss indictment on the grounds of biased jury, inadmissible evidence, lack of sufficient evidence, and prosecutorial misconduct in withholding exculpatory evidence. This motion is made pursuant to ICAR 32, and it was dated yesterday, signed Ann C. Taylor. We got another one here. Again, another motion to support, order to file in support of motion to dismiss indictment under seal. The court having before its defendant's motion to file in support of the motion to dismiss indictment under seal in good cause appearing now. Therefore, it is hereby ordered that the memorandum, I cannot say that word, in support of the motion to dismiss, we already know that, I've said it 1,000 times. Let's see, and it's just another document here in support. So the way that I look at it is now, this in the sense would make a little sense to me because Ann Taylor now wants to get this indictment thrown out. And the reason being is they have evidence now. They have evidence that they can sift through for the next year or two. So what they're trying to do is get this indictment thrown out. But if it gets thrown out, Bill Thompson is just going to file the indictment again and start this process all over again. That's what Ann Taylor is hoping. This is going to, again, just reset the clock and give her and her team more time if she so continues to defend Kohberger, because attorneys come and go. A year from now, 2 years from now, she may be tied up with another specific case when this is ready to go, and she may have to dismiss herself. But now that she's seen all the evidence that's in this case, it'll give them an advantage, a year or two advantage to go back and look and come up with their theory or their defense of the state's evidence. I just don't see it happening. The way that Judge was the other day, not in this hearing yesterday, but the hearing just before when he was setting the schedule. And he's like, we're going forward on October 2nd. We're having this case. So I don't see it. I don't see that it's going to get dismissed. I don't think that he's going to go back and want to reset the clock. I think there's enough sufficient evidence to go forth in this case. But let's do this. We will play through the enhanced audio so we can hear a little bit more clear of what happened yesterday in court.
Bryan C. Kohberger, case number CR 29-222805. Mr. Kohberger is in the courtroom. Ms. Taylor is representing him. Looks like Mr. Watson is participating on Zoom,
I agree, Karen.
as is Ms. Bassett. And we have Mr. Thompson and Ms. Jennings in the courtroom representing the state. Participating on Zoom is Ms. Beatty and Mr. Nye. Also representing the state.
Thank you so much. All right, let's keep playing back through this enhanced audio.
She's participating on Zoom. And I think that's really everybody that I have to address here. So the defense, Ms. Taylor, requests a status conference for today. So here we are. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. Sir, we asked for the status conference.
Try to lower the typing as much as I could. It was so loud we couldn't hear anything, but I think I did a pretty good job on this. It did take me a while this morning.
Today, because I have had some opportunities to meet with Mr. Kohberger and talk about his trial date and his speedy trial right. Your Honor, we're here today to ask the court to continue the trial setting, and Mr. Kohberger is prepared to waive his right to a speedy trial. Your Honor, there are a couple of things that I need to place on the record. One can come after the court takes his waiver, but one I think ought to come before the court takes his waiver. Your Honor, as the court knows, we will file a number of motions to strike the death penalty and Idaho's speedy application. Because we're here today to waive speedy and ask the court to continue, I think the court and counsel ought to know that one of the motions that we will be filing is a motion to strike the death penalty, because it places Mr. Kohberger in a position where he has to choose between two rights. One, that being the right of the speedy trial, or the other right to effective assistance of counsel. I didn't want that to come filed later and have it be any surprise that I knew it was coming. It will be coming, that motion will be coming. And for us to stand up and request the continuance and the speedy.
It automatically picked it up.
The rest can be placed on the record after the court's questions and
Taylor. Well, you heard all that, Mr. Kohberger? Yes? Yes. And is that the case that you want to waive your speedy trial rights?
Yes.
Do you understand that those rights are statutory in Idaho, also protected by the United States Constitution and the Idaho Constitution?
Yes.
You understand that if you waive, you're waiving really threat in this case. So if we were to push this out, this case, and then something else happens that allows us or requires us to push it out a little farther, you can't claim your right to a speedy trial at that point. You understand that?
Yes.
So have you had enough time to discuss this with Ms. Taylor?
I have.
Is anybody pressuring you to waive your speedy trial rights?
No.
Sure you want to do this?
Absolutely.
You agree with this, Ms. Taylor?
Your Honor, I do agree with this. I do not believe counsel can be effective by October 2nd, the entire case. given this should end up in a pursuit of his trial. Our investigation is not complete. Our work as experts is not complete. Having completed a review of state's evidence, I do not believe that we can be effective. I have to.
Recognize the super chat. Angela P, thank you so much. She says, bless your heart for cleaning up that audio much better. I tried to do as best as I could with what I got. It was pretty terrible audio to begin with. And hopefully when we get to trial, or if we get to trial, they have some much better audio for us, because it's pretty bad. Thank you so much.
Great cash, homie.
All right, let's keep playing through here.
Is Mr. Kohberger willing today to write, sign his name and you to sign your name on a waiver of speedy trial?
Your Honor, I can tell you that I did not prepare Mr. Kohberger for that, and that would be because I am not familiar with the court's practice. I expected we would wait in open court today, which without any having to take a look at the full months.
Well, I wasn't really anticipating this, but just in case, and hypothetically, I grabbed a Odyssey form, which I don't really favor those forms, but I did pull that out, and maybe I could give this to you and Mr. Kohberger, and we could take a look at it. My practice is always to get a written signature of waiver in any waiver of speedy trial. So, let me go to, I haven't taken his waiver yet. I'm going to notice that, but let that settle for a second. Mr. Thompson, do you have any objections?
No, Your Honor. I mean, I think everybody would like to have this resolved sooner than later, but I think the case here that the rate is pointed to if this is fine.
Thank you. I do agree with that. I mean, we have so many things going on. There's a lot of issues left to resolve. And as you know, I mean, probably you could understand that. We were all thinking this, that it's going to be very difficult to put everything together that needs to be put together before October 2nd. This is a very significant, complicated case for all the lawyers, particularly Mr. Kohberger. So I understand we want to be fully prepared for the trial. Also, so and likewise for the state, likewise for the court. I mean, I was going to do that, but you don't want to have to. I mean, any of these issues, because they're all important. So I don't know, did you take a look at that form?
Maybe you have just a moment.
Yeah, go ahead. Thank you. So, Mr. Kohberger, did you read this over?
Yes.
Okay, what I'm talking about is the written waiver of speedy trial.
Yes.
Did you understand the terms here,
Yes.
which we've already talked about?
Yes.
And you agree with the signing of the form waiver of speedy trial, Ms. Taylor?
I do not.
Okay, so Mr. Kohberger, do you want me to accept your waiver?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and you understand that if I accept your waiver, you're giving up your constitutional right under the United States Constitution and the Idaho Constitution on the constitutional right of speedy trial?
I understand.
Do you understand that if I accept your waiver, you're also giving up your statutory, Idaho statutory right to a speedy trial?
Yes.
That is within 6 months of your name.
Yes.
Do you agree with the tender of the waiver, Ms. Taylor?
I do not.
Kohberger, do you want me to accept the waiver?
I do.
Based on our discussion, your waiver of these rights expressly in court and also in signing this waiver to the trial. Also, you are tendering these waivers on advice of counsel. I will accept your waiver of speedy trial. I find that your waivers are knowing, intelligent, voluntary, and there's actually good cause to that. Given what I heard from your counsel, Thompson. So, with that, we can talk about resetting this. We're prepared to do that today. Sarah?
Your Honor, I would say that we are not prepared to choose a trial date today. And that brings me to the second part of what I wanted to talk to the board and council about today. We currently have September 1st as the date for the motions to dismiss the grand jury indictment. Our deadline to file our challenges will be today, and we're prepared to file those today. Our hope is that particular hearing date, they let the folks challenge the grand jury indictment, and also there are 2 additional motions that we're going to be filing. And I'm hoping that we can have those heard. After that time, after we heard the motions, we'd be in a position to meet with the state if we desire and talk about a reasonable trial setting. My preference would be to have us discuss that and reset the trial one time and not do this a number of times and worry about getting schemas out and really don't. That would be my request. The other deadlines that are in place right now on the court's scheduling order, I think those would be appropriate for us to talk about, see, and defense, and perhaps suggest for the court to order a different scheduling order than what exists. We just simply want to keep the grand jury indictment challenge date is that soon, and having the court's decision on that will largely impact what happens. If the court will allow, I'd like to briefly address the other 2 motions that are coming up and on today.
Sure.
Okay. We will be filing a motion as to media in the courtroom, particularly the counts in the courtroom. And that motion should be filed by the end of the day or first thing tomorrow. That comes from Spain. The other motion, Your Honor, has to do with what happens to witnesses that the defense might call. The court will call Gabriela Vargas testified last Friday. We are hearing last night. She was visited by 2 FBI agents and interrogated about her testimony, timing of the declaration. That, in our view, impacts Mr. Kohberger's due process rights and tries to affect the assistance counsel, and that motion will also be filed later today with proceedings.
Any objection to hearing this here, the motion along with these 2 more motions to be heard on September 11th?
I don't think so, Your Honor. I mean, not seeing exactly what the motions are, but if you're saying they're fairly straightforward, I would think that it's a, if you look at the motions, we have an issue with great Ms. Taylor. I will, for the record, since Ms. Taylor has brought up the situation with Vargas, did court and counseling background. Over the weekend, Ms. Vargas, after she testified, engaged in some electronic communications with others in the genetic genealogy field. Those indicated, as it was reported to the investigators, to our investigators, that she was redating on some of the things she testified to in court. When we heard that, I reached out to the investigators and said, can you find out what's going on? And the FBI indeed undertook an investigation. And preliminary reports are that Ms. Vargas claims that some of what was in her declaration, she inadvertently agreed.
I'm going to go back here because I'm kind of lost track here, and I want to hear this. Is very important.
Counsel, and that motion will also be filed later today.
I'm drifting today. I'm sorry. Thanks,
Any
dude.
objection to
took a shot at
the
Pretty good.
motion along with these two more motions to be heard on September 1?
I don't think so, Your Honor. I mean, not seeing exactly what the motions are, but if you're saying they're fairly straightforward, I would think that it's a, if you look at the motions, we have an issue with great Ms. Taylor. I will, for the record, since Ms. Taylor has brought up the situation with Vargas, did court and counseling back.
So they're talking about Gabriela Vargas now. It's still a little tough to hear. I tried to do my best to clean up the audio, but let's try to pay attention here and hear what we can.
Over the weekend, Ms. Vargas, after she testified, engaged in some electronic communications with others in the genetic genealogy field.
So basically, Thompson said, and I'll kind of quarterback it for you. Thompson said that after her testimony over the weekend, she was speaking with others in the community that talk about genetic genealogy.
Those indicated, as it was reported to the investigators, to our investigators, that she was redating on some of the things she testified to in court.
So essentially what happened was when she was speaking with these individuals, she was remitting some of the testimony that she was talking about in court. That's going to cause issues. That's going to cause issues.
We heard that. I reached out to investigators and said, can you find out what's going on? And the FBI indeed undertook an investigation. And preliminary reports.
So the only reason that the FBI went there is because they're leading the investigation. So all this bullshit that you're hearing about fucking witness intimidation and all this other bullshit out there, it's bullshit. You know, people are just going to start putting these things up for clicks and views. I'm going to guarantee you're going to see videos that go out there for clicks and views. If I have to do a video to talk about what actually really happened, I will do that. But I already saw a couple of people today. Oh, witness intimidation. You know what happens. Oh, the FBI, they're so corrupt. You know the things. Ruby Ridge, you know, all these people now, because they need to keep this going now, because we're going to sit idle on this case for about a year or two. So there's not going to be a lot of Kohberger material out there to talk about. So everybody has to start making up shit again. Conspiracy. I'm telling you, the fucking streams are going to be going again. The conspiracy streams are going to be going again. Believe me. Believe me, they will be out there.
Are that Ms. Vargas claims that some of what was in her declaration, she inadvertently agreed or signed without fully reading it. We're documenting that so we can expose it to Ms. Taylor and to the court, because I think goes directly to what happened last week.
And this is, and I'm sorry, I'm stopping the audio, and if we have to go back, I will do that. Okay, we'll go back and listen to the audio. But I'm getting these ideas as they're coming. I'm looking at your chat, and I'm hearing this. Like, you know, Donna is saying, you know, thank you, Brian. That shit was flying last night about that. Because what happens is when people watch and listen to these hearings, they don't listen to the full context. So all they're hearing is 2 FBI agents went to Gabriela Vargas's house. Oh my God, that is witness intimidation. But if you would have waited to listen to the full context as to what Bill Thompson was talking about, then you would have got the full story. And here he is on record presenting what happened. And of course, Ann Taylor is going to have her rebuttal on that, but he's putting it on the record. And I'm going to be honest with you, after he put it on the record, and I wish we could see the visual, Judge didn't really look too concerned about it. He said, well, we'll just have a hearing about it. That's fine. And I believe he actually said, thank you for clarifying that to me. So he wasn't hiding anything. He came out and said it. He let Judge know about it. So, you know, you're going to see this. This will carry on for like weeks now. And now it will be the fucking moon landing is fake. And, Ruby Ridge and 9/11 was an inside job. You're going to see all of it. It's all connected to Kohberger now. It's coming. Believe me. You're going to see the conspiracy streams.
That's the only reason that she was contacted, because it reported to us that she was retracting some of what she had testified to, what was at the declaration. And he felt it very duty to cover that quickly. There was no other motive, no other motivation to it.
Of course, Phil.
Your Honor, that's.
All right, I'm going to go back a little bit because I know I was yapping my trap like I always do, and I get yelled at. You always talk about it. Talk over the audio. You talk over the audio. Well, I'm giving context. I'm giving thoughts that come to my mind right away. That's why I do that. And I interact with the audience inside the chat. All right, let's rewind that and play that a little bit. Let's see. Here we go. I'll shut up now.
Any objection to hearing the motion along with these two more motions to be heard on September 11th?
I don't think so, Your Honor. I'm not seeing exactly what the motions are, but if you're saying it's fairly straightforward, I would think that it's if we look at the motions and we have an issue with grace of Ms. Taylor. I will, for the record, since Ms. Taylor has brought up the situation, Ms. Vargas did work in counseling in the background. Over the weekend, Ms. Vargas, after she testified, engaged in some electronic communications with others in the genetic genealogy field. Those indicated, as it was reported to the investigators, to our investigators, that she was redigging on some of the things that she testified to in court. When we heard that, I reached out to the investigators and said, can you find out what's going on? And the FBI indeed undertook the investigation. And preliminary reports are that Ms. Vargas claims that some of what was in her declaration, she inadvertently agreed to or signed without fully reading it. We're documenting that so we can expose it to Ms. Taylor and to the court, because I think it goes directly to what happened last week. That's the only reason that she was contacted, because it reported to us that she was retracting some of what she had testified to, what was at the declaration. And he felt it very duty to cover that quickly. There was no other motive, no other motivation to it. I just wanted to thank you.
Your Honor, that's certainly different than the information that I received. I would have been happy to be advised about that, but I'm not sure that's accurate. I mean, I'm sure that's what responsive for. I'm not saying they're calling them a liar, but the quality of the information piece, see, I'm not sure that's entirely accurate. My hope is that these FBI agents to look at as far as the home last night. I'm hopefully they reported everything that they talked to her about, and that should resolve the issue.
Great. Good about it at the hearing. That's how we sort these things out.
Yeah.
So back to
there.
the change of
the judge didn't really seem too concerned. He just says, well, we'll just sort these things out. So it was on the record, it was presented. Judge listened to it and said, we'll sort these things out. So I don't know what the big conspiracy theory is. I thought it was a little weird on day one when she got up there and testified for the defense. She couldn't even remember when she got her bachelor's degree. I mean, I don't know. If I graduated with a bachelor's degree and someone asked me, when did you get your bachelor's degree? Bang. 2015, 2002, 2006, 2005. I would know that. That's just me. I mean, I don't know. I know what year I graduated high school, 1996. I mean, I know my phone number, da 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 da. I know my social security number, da 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 da. I know my mom's phone number, da 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 da. I know my house number, da 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 da. I know my mom's house number. I don't know. If someone asked me when I got my bachelor's degree, I would be pretty proud of that. That would be a proud moment in my house, in my life to celebrate. I would know right away. Or if I was on a job interview, someone's like, "Whoa, what year did you graduate and get your bachelor's degree?" Oh, it was, whatever, 2006. I don't have a bachelor's degree, but things that you accomplish, you remember. I mean, I don't know. That just seemed a little odd to me.
Scheduling order. I think it does make some sense to review that. You want to talk about that before we start taking that apart? We don't have to do it right now.
I'm taking.
Judge, the state's position would be is that the court vacate the October trial date, vacate the scheduling order. Let us get through what we're going to do.
No, it's funny, and I want to stop it again. Now people get very mad at me about that, but things come to my mind as these kind of live streams go on, and that's the purpose of why we do these live streams. It's very spontaneous in the moment. We feed off the crowd. We feed off things that come into our mind. I want to go back to a case, the West Memphis 3, and there was a state's witness that they brought up in the very first documentary, and it was an older gentleman that had glasses and I wish I could play the video, but I'm sure it's copywritten. And he talks about he was a witness for for things of the occult, and I'm sure you all can remember this if you remember that case. And he got up and testified. Well, he had a journal of Damien's. And he said, if you look at this, he has the upside down crosses and the pentagrams and 777. And he's like, this is all occult activity. And he opened his notebook and was reading some lyrics. And he said, well, what would this be? And he was like, that was lyrics to a Metallica song that I just liked. So bottom line is, when Damien Eccles, defense attorney, got up and started to question this expert, he fell apart because he started to question his degree. Now, I'm not saying anything against Gabriela Vargas because I don't know her. I don't know. But when they started to question this expert, this occult expert, they said, what classes did you attend between such and such year and such year? And the witness went, I don't know what you mean. And the attorney said, what classes did you attend to get your, I believe it was a PhD that he was saying he had, to get your PhD between X and X dates? And he basically said, none. And then he asked him, where did you get this degree? And come to find out, it essentially was a mail order degree. You could just send in $250, $350, or whatever it was at the time. They mail him a diploma, and he's a PhD in whatever, occultism and research, or whatever the hell the degree was in. But the guy totally fell apart. Now, I'm not saying that's in this case, but things like this happen. Things like this happen. So it could be. It could be. All right, let's keep playing through this enhanced audio.
We were on the first, and then let's talk and see if we can come to an agreement. If not, allow the court to set a date for a trial that's realistic, and then have a scheduling order generated that reflects the time of preparing for trial and is useful for both parties to do it anyway.
Acceptable for Sarah?
Yes, Your Honor, I agree. We should get through the hearing on the first, and then we're happy to meet with Mr. Thompson and his office and discuss the appropriate trial date.
That counsel can talk about some of those things before we're taking it back.
Yes.
fully support it. So I'm vacating the trial, October 2nd, and I'm vacating the scheduling order except for September 1st. Okay? That with Mr. Kohberger Waives, speedy trial. I have maybe a personal issue to discuss with you. First of all, I wanted to tell you I'm getting requests for excuses already from potential jurors, and what I'm doing is not excusing anybody at this point. I'm the commissioner. The commissioner is just collecting those, and then we're going to do those excuses on the record with you. Okay, I think that's appropriate in a case like this. Does that make sense, Ms. Taylor?
The excuses are from potential jurors.
They may be. I mean, these are expanding the panel.
Okay.
Okay, because I was thinking that I need a lot more potential jurors to show up. Objection to me excusing myself. I never thought I'd actually face that. I mean, I don't think I could be a juror in this case.
I would agree, that the image of the court going from the jury box, that was,
It's entertaining.
yes, but I understand and I would have no objection to it.
Thank you. I thought about that, like going back. I might get tired. Mr. Thompson?
It makes perfect sense.
Yeah, the only reason I haven't been doing that, Miller, and the only reason I haven't been doing that is because the captions are turned on down below. And if I have the banner up, you're not going to be able to read that. So that's why I've kind of just done them quick today. Usually I do let them hang, but because the captions are there and it's hard to hear the audio, I'm trying to give someone some visual references too. So probably not going to be able to do it on this stream. That's why I've only been putting them up just really quick, because I want the audience to be able to read the captions. It's almost over too. We only got about another 1 minute, and there's really not much going on.
And it's more for
It's odd, but it is logical. I felt kind of awkward thinking that I would do that in order to talk to everybody.
you would not want to confuse with pardoning yourself.
Right, of course. Always with an open mind. All right. Anything else we need to address today? Ms. Taylor?
No, you want to keep on.
Ms. Thompson?
No.
All right. Well, thank you all, and have a good rest of your week.
That's it. That is the audio. I tried to enhance it as best as I could and clean it up. Yeah, I read the documents earlier. I did read the documents earlier. So that's kind of, where we're at. It's kind of where we are at this case right now. It's going to be sitting idle for a while. We're going to have a lot of time on our hands. I'll try to keep everybody invested as much as we can. If there's any new updates, I'm sure there's going to be, some information that will come over the next couple of weeks. There's some more hearings that are scheduled. It probably won't be in the intense coverage that we've got so far. I've actually thought about doing something that I've did many, many months ago, and I saw it just becoming a trend after I did it. But I'm thinking about actually going back, way, way back to the beginning and going through some archival footage all the way up into present day. So maybe we'll do that again. Just do some basic review of the case. And there's other cases that I want to move onto as well. I still want to do my midweek content where we do the smaller cases and bring that to light. I'm going to start to probably whip up some new TPG stuff as well, do some investigating in that and see if anything has come out of that as well. So plenty of content out there. You know, I will keep everybody informed as to what's going on the latest and greatest. Okay. Yeah, Mind Your Business says she's just disappointed how it turned out. Oh, I did want to share this really quick too. I know there was, I shared this on my community tab today, and there was a post from the Gonzalez family on the Gonzalez family Facebook page. And it read, I want to send a huge thank you to everyone that supports us. We're truly an army of love standing right next to us. There are no words for us for what you all do on a daily basis. I wish I could meet each one of you in person and give you a hug and thank you. It's going to get rough. Please stick with us. Excuse me. We need the Gonzalez army of love every step of the way. We love you all. God bless. We definitely will be with the Gonzalez family all the way through this. We will continue to look and make sure that we follow this case all the way through. I am not giving up on this case, and I will continue to report on it. And again, it's going to not be as rapid fire updates as we're used to, but as new evidence comes out or new documents or new reports, definitely we'll do some updates here on this channel. So sit idle for a while. It's going to be a little while until, new updates come out, but there's plenty of new cases that we can get into and do some updates on cases that we've been following. I know there was a release today in Rachel Morin's, and I'll pull that up really quick. And I plan on doing some more content on that case because they have not the individual responsible for that. Let's see. Let's play this really quick from News Nation on Rachel Morin. We'll just do that really quick, and then we'll close up this stream. But I'm going to get back into covering this case as well. This is from Dan Abrams on News Nation. Let's see what he had to say.
A dire warning from police in Maryland. They're calling for help to find the suspect in the grisly murder of a mother of 5, Rachel Morin, saying if we don't catch him soon, he'll strike again somewhere. Rachel Morin was found dead off a popular hiking trail nearly 3 weeks ago. Police identified the suspect in the case last week using DNA.
DNA evidence is part of nearly every modern-day investigation, and in Rachel's case, DNA evidence was collected by our Forensic Services Unit. That DNA was analyzed by the Maryland State Police, and it was ran through the National CODIS system. DNA evidence this DNA evidence has come back as a match, tied to a home invasion and an assault of a young girl in Los Angeles this past March. Unfortunately, that suspect has not been positively identified, but he did leave behind his DNA. We have called the FBI, and we are working with some of their DNA experts in their crime lab to try to help us further analyze this DNA.
The Harford County Sheriff's Office obtained video from the LAPD showing the suspect leaving that scene. This is the guy they believe murdered 37-year-old Rachel Morin. Police say he's still on the loose. They think he's 5'9", 160, early to mid-20s, of Hispanic descent. Officials believe he acted alone, was likely someone Rachel didn't know, possibly a random act of violence. Crime Stoppers now offering a $2,000 reward for information leading to his arrest.
Yeah, I already read them at the very beginning of the stream. Thank you for the update.
Richard Tobin, after she set off for a hike around 6 o'clock that evening and never returned. Officers found her car at the trailhead the next day. Hours later, a volunteer searcher found her body. Over the weekend, hundreds of friends and family gathered at the trail for a memorial walk in Rachel's honor.
Today, instead of looking at the end of her life, we're here to remember her life.
Amen.
And the things that she gave everyone who knew her, not just her family, but the community in general.
Joining me now is Harford County Sheriff Jeff Gaylor. Thanks so much, Sheriff, for coming on the program. Appreciate it. All right. So since this announcement, since you've been able to link this back to the LA assault, have you gotten a lot of tips?
We have received quite a few tips. I think we're in the area of 350 or so tips since this crime happened, many of them coming after the video release there that you just showed on the 17th with the DNA hit. Thankfully, a DNA hit back to on the CODIS system back to that case in Los Angeles.
And people calling and saying they think they know who the person is, I assume. I mean, look, the problem in these kinds of cases, I don't have to tell you, is that you get an enormous amount of calls. Most of them aren't particularly relevant. People think they might be, but I assume you're getting a lot of calls from people saying, I know who that guy is.
No, we're still getting the kind of the calls that we were getting before the video. We haven't received a call saying, we have received some saying it might be this person, and we're following all those up. And we want those calls. And you're right, the majority of the tips that come in are not of value, but we need our investigators to vet them to ensure that, we're not missing that one that is going to bring this person to put him behind bars where he needs to be. Somebody out there knows who he is, and that tip has not come through to us yet.
And, your office has made it clear that you view this guy as a really dangerous individual.
100%. He has shown from what he did in Los Angeles and the more serious case here with the homicide of Rachel, just that violence associated with that. This guy has no regard for human life, for the value of human life, and he will reoffend if he's not apprehended. We need, investigators to continue to work diligently, through.
Shit. Sorry about that.
Very moment, hopefully, to identify this person. But again, I say somebody out there knows who he is off of that picture, off of what we've been able to release, and we need that person to come forward and help us get this monster off the street.
The picture, we put up the video, we put up the description. We're going to continue to follow this case because I do believe this is one of these cases where someone is going to recognize that guy. That's a good enough video of the guy that if someone knows him, they'll be able to say, oh, wait a sec, I know who that is.
100% right, Dan. And I appreciate the opportunity to share that, and hopefully that this leads to the tip that will help us bring this case down.
Sheriff Gaylor, appreciate it.
All right. That is it. That is it for today. We're going to wrap up this edition of the LTL podcast. This was episode 66. I appreciate everybody coming in and hanging out this early evening. I hope you all have a good rest of your day, and we will continue to cover what we can on the Bryan Kohberger case. There are many, many other cases out there that need attention, and we will continue to go forward with investigating and bringing our commentary to those cases. So I'm going to get out of here. I appreciate everybody. I'll be definitely popping up with a stream tomorrow at some point tomorrow, and I will see you all soon. I am Bryan. This is the LTL podcast. Thank you so much for being here today. I'll see you next time. See you.